Hello, and welcome to our first video on learning the Linux command line. The first thing that you might notice here is that for learning the Linux command line, I'm operating on a Windows computer right now. I'm doing this because I figured most of you out there are probably going to be using Windows or Mac computers. One of the ways that we can learn Linux is to install a Linux OS like Ubuntu or Kali Linux directly onto our machine. Another option is to install a virtualization software such as VirtualBox. So if we go to Google and we type in VirtualBox, in these first few videos, I'm going to show you how to install VirtualBox, get it running, and build a virtual machine. Your virtual machine, in our case, a virtual Kali Linux machine, is going to operate inside of your host machine or my Windows computer. Any changes that I make to the virtual machine will be independent to the host machine, and so I really can't mess up my host machine at all. If I try to install Linux directly, I could run into some issues, and so unless you either know what you're doing in that regard or are pretty adventurous and okay messing up your host computer, I would say try to install VirtualBox. For the purpose of our course, I'm going to show you how to download and install VirtualBox, but then once that's done, I'm going to use my own dedicated Kali Linux laptop. But whatever I'm doing on my Kali machine, you should be able to do in your virtual machine. So if I click download, we're brought here and we have to download the correct package, whether or not we're working on Windows, Mac, or Linux. So I'm going to download the Windows host, and if I click this, it will begin to download that file. I'm going to cancel this because I've already have that file downloaded. And so if we minimize and we go to our downloads folder, I see right here I have the VirtualBox installer. So if I double click this, it will open up the install wizard. We'll click next. I'll keep all of these settings here the same, and here too. And we'll click yes and install. And so now we'll allow this to make changes. And I don't think this should take too long. I don't need to pause the video. If we look, we've got the desktop icon already installed, and there it is done. So I can click finish and it will open it up right away. So let me close this. And so here we have VirtualBox. So let's close that and see how would we get to it. Well, we got the desktop icon, but also if we go to our programs, it's not under VirtualBox. It's actually under Oracle. So Oracle VM VirtualBox, we can click right here and open it up. So right now this is wonderful. We've got this piece of software installed, but we don't really have any virtual machines or computers to use. See, if we had virtual machines, they'd appear in a list over here, and right now that list is empty. And so what we have to do is we have to go out to the internet and download some virtual images of the different machines that we want to run, and then we either have to add them or import them into VirtualBox. And that's something we'll see how to do in our next video. I'll see you then.